So I think let's start our GRE session. Um, I am Zoonish Javed from Lahore, and I had been to the US for completing my studies in conservation biology at University of Minnesota. And I lived there for almost 2 years. I just got my nomination during COVID days. So one of the semesters in my earlier studies I had to complete while living in Pakistan, and rest of the 4 semesters I had to go there. And it was a wonderful journey, and I have so much to share with the people around me, with the people of my country. And uh, I think Murtaza has raised his hand. I don't know for what reason. You can type your question in the chat box if you have any. Um, and that's how I started my journey over there. For now, as I was invited by USEFP to share my GRE experience with you, please don't expect a lot of rigorous work of a lot of difficult questions that you are going to come across in GRE preparation or on actual GRE test. For now, in this very brief time, I'm going to explain the question types, the test format, and definitely we are going to solve some of the questions just to elaborate the basic ideas. Uh, Murtaza, Aman, can you please ask if Murtaza has something very important to ask?
Yeah, so everybody, if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A section, and we will address those questions at the end of the session.
That's good. Thank you. Um, So this is my brief introduction. I studied, as I've told you, that I studied in University of Minnesota Twin Cities campus, and here are two pictures. That one was available on internet, and the other picture is me standing right after having my second shot of COVID vaccine, and I'm standing next to the monument. Uh, Personally, I worked there as an ornithologist with the renowned scientists and with those expert people who were very much dedicated in solving the problems of migratory birds and bringing them back to the nature. Actually, Americans are quite interested, interested in how to preserve nature and how to live with nature, and that's how they are investing a lot of resources in bringing biodiversity back to nature that actually is gone due to their urban interventions and all that. So basically, by profession, I'm a geographer at University Lahore, and I also have worked with AGC and Punjab Higher Education Commission as master trainer, and I'm also visiting faculty in several public and private sectors universities of Pakistan like QET, like UCP. So let, before having further ado, let's go to agenda, actually, which is not as brief as it is shown on the screen, like why GRE, what is the test structure, and what are the test taking strategies, recommended material, and a question answer session that is definitely going to be in the end of the workshop. So, like, this is the first and fundamental question comes in your mind, because GRE is definitely one of the most difficult exams that you are ever going to come across in your life. So being Pakistani, I can definitely feel the pain that we don't have that kind of fancy schooling in which we think like Americans, and with the other first world people who are having very broad exposure to the academics and all that. So for Pakistani students, GRE is definitely a difficult task. and which is not just the whole key to unlock your future opportunities, but this question comes in your mind, like why we have to take GRE. So for that, like this is a global standardized measure. Without having GRE, like in many universities of the world, GRE is the standard measure to check whether, if you are applying for higher education, whether you are prepared for that or not. Of course, it strengthens your application. Of course, those universities who take GRE in account, they definitely consider your application on the basis of your decent scores in GRE. If you have scored 160 plus in both sections, verbal and quant, and if you are 4.5 in your essay, then definitely you have very decent chances. But GRE is not the whole picture. Of course, your personal statement and other factors and the recommendation letters matter a lot. But GRE actually, if I just explain it in one line, then GRE actually prepares you to do higher studies. For Pakistani students, when they go to the international arena, with academic arena, and they are not enough prepared, they don't know the academic culture of those countries. So GRE actually prepares them to compete with those students who actually had been through rigorous academic culture. So this is, of course, this is essential for scholarships and funding. And different types of questions, they reflect your critical thinking skills. And 5 years validity of GRE keep your options open. So if you are going to take GRE test today, then its validity remains open for 5 years. So that's how it works. So this is the test structure that actually has been implemented since 2023. So overall test, which is 1 hour and 58 minutes, and I'm quite envious to those who are taking the most recent GRE test. Although it is claimed that it is more difficult, but actually I have taken both. I have taken the initially 4.5 hours long test and this 2 hours long GRE test as well. And I have found actually both bone crushing, both are extremely difficult, and both need intense hard work to cope with the examination standards. So let's break it out in different sections. As you can see on the screen, that analytical writing, which is based on one section, and one analyze and issue task, and that is for 30 minutes. And then there comes verbal reasoning. There are two sections of verbal reasoning. First section is of 12 questions and for 18 minutes. And second section is for 15 questions and 23 minutes. And quant section is again two sections. In first section, we have 12 questions for 21 minutes. And in second section, we have 15 questions for 26 minutes. Actually, this is also a difficulty adaptive test. If you perform well in in verbal and quant sections in sections 1, then your section 2 and section 2 of both parts is going to be very difficult. If you see difficult questions, then you just have to you don't have to panic, you don't have to worry at all, because if you are prepared enough, then definitely you have passed the first stage, and now you are in the second stage, which is if is having difficult questions. Then solving difficult questions is going to earn you more scores. And um, and it goes for verbal and quant sections both. So it's a very messy screen. If you could break it down in several pieces. So let's start from left side of the picture. So new GRE format breakdown. I'm reading that column. So questions, 15 questions, verbal section 1 and verbal section 2, and quant section 1 and quant section 2. For question Up to question 3 in verbal section 1, you are going to have text completion questions. TC is for text completion. Uh, and in verbal section 2, which is of 15 minutes, you are again going to have text completion questions. And in quantitative part, up to 4 questions, you are going to have quant comp or quantitative comparison questions. And in section 2, you are going to have up to 5 questions of quant comparison question. So reading comprehension, question number 4 and 5 in verbal part 1, reading comprehension again of 2 questions in verbal section 2. Then sentence sequence, which like this is you have to select synonyms. uh, Question number 6 to 9, almost like you are going to have 4 questions of sentence sequence in first part, and then reading comprehension in second section, which is of like medium difficulty, and then reading comprehension from question number 10 to question number 12, like you are going to have 3 questions of reading comprehension in section 1. So that is the breakdown of verbal section and part 1. Then part 2 of the verbal section is again sentence equivalence, logic based reading comprehension, which is of medium or intense difficulty question. And if you can compare verbal section 1 and 2, then you can easily like get the idea that second part is having logic based reading comprehension extra, and it has more reading comprehension paragraphs than the than the section 1. Similarly, for quant section 1, you are going to have data interpretation questions from question 6 to like you are going to expect 3 data interpretation question in quant section 1, and then problem solving. There are almost 4 questions, but in second section, which becomes very challenging in a way that data interpretation questions are considered to be easier than any other type of questions, because you have a diagram, and most of the time you just it's like reading comprehension of verbal part. Data interpretation questions are like verbal sorry reading comprehension question types of verbal section. So it's easy to answer them if you have proper strategies. If you are properly prepared, then you can easily get all the answers right in data interpretation question. Personally speaking, for me, these questions were the easiest for me in test. So next are problem solving, and in quant section 2, we are going to have maximum number of problem solving, and then we are going to have at least 5 questions of quant comp in nature. Quant comp in nature, you just have to pick whether the two comparative quantities are equal, one is bigger than the other, or the answer cannot be determined from the given information. So quant comp is that. So in the next slides, we are going to definitely discuss these question types in detail. uh, in the in the left side of the in the bottom left of the slide, of course, this is again the breakdown of the question types, which is text completion, sentence sequence, reading comprehension, and all that. You can help yourself by reading that slide. And then we have for quant section, numeric entry, multiple choice question in which you have to select one option or more than one options, and then we have single choice. Uh, uh, like we just have to pick one answer for, and then we have data interpretation question. um, this is the score chart of those who took test in the year 2025 to 26. So this is actually the the average of the scores that those who appeared in the test, and you can see on screen that average score is in 50s, 153 to 160. And of course, those who are coming from natural sciences and from mathematical backgrounds, definitely those people are scoring more in quantitative reasoning. But those who are coming from social sciences, they are scoring better in verbal sections. So you can easily compare like how the background knowledge of how, like, what you have studied in your undergrad or your in your grad courses is definitely going to help you. But not in that way. If even if you are coming from diverse backgrounds, still you can excel in the field. And in analytical writing, like uh, law students and humanities and arts, which actually write well, can write well, are scoring in 4, and otherwise all the other categories average score is 3.9, 3.4, ranging from 3.4 to 3.9. So it's an important slide. So actually analytical AWA here is analytical writing assessment. So this is the first part that is going to be of 30 minutes. So analytical writing is going to test you on the basis of whether you have clear thinking, whether you can logically build the reasoning, you have this ability to organize your ideas coherently, cohesively. They are not looking for fancy vocabulary. Pakistani students and Pakistani people, I'm from academia and I know very well, like in academia people are obsessed with using fancy vocabularies. uh, it's not a very negative thing. It's like you are just impressing, trying to impress the reader, but actually it doesn't make any sense. Like you don't know the sentence structure making, and you don't know how to organize your ideas, but you are using a fancy word which is having a difficult uh, which is difficult to pronounce. So that is definitely going to have a bad impression. So please avoid that. And of course, GRE essay topics are very creative. They condemn like rote learning and memorizing essays. So rule of thumb is you use simple English, strong logic, and definitely in that way you are going to score high. uh, Only structure you need is you have to have a paragraph skeleton, which should be having introduction, and in which you state your position. Then body paragraph 1 and body paragraph number 2. You just pick one position, you just select your stance, you just select what you want to talk about, and then you write reason why you are supporting that position, and then give example. Then you just have to write the second paragraph and state the reason and give example. In 30 minutes you cannot do wonders, and definitely there are going to be spelling mistakes and grammatical errors. So you are not expected to write a New York Times type column in 30 minutes. So be very realistic about your own abilities and try to do your best while using simple English, and uh, and organizing your essay systematically. So counter argument is optional if you want to. If you have like impressive typing speed, then you definitely can add counter argument. And uh, in the end is conclusion, which is of course optional. So rule of thumb here is one idea per paragraph, and you have to take the clear position throughout. Like in first paragraph, the position you have taken, you have to maintain it throughout your analytical writing paragraph. So although it is expected that you should write at least 500 words in 30 minutes, but if you are writing a longer paragraph aiming to score high, but it is having a lot of grammatical errors and a lot of spelling errors, then definitely it's not going to give you higher scores. So you just have to be very precise in managing your time, because 30 minutes are going to pass very quickly during the test. If you are going to plan your 30 minutes in a way that 5 minutes in planning, and then 20 minutes in writing, and 5 minutes, most of the students, like they don't have enough time in revising the essay part, and that costs them very heavily, because most of the time their ideas are brilliant, their position is very clear, but they have very serious spelling mistakes and grammatical mistakes. So that actually gives a bad impression of the writer. So you have to be extra cautious for investing at least 3 to 5 minutes in revising your what you have written. So score boosters are logical examples, all the logical examples that can come in your mind in time pressure, that should be related to history, uh, politics, of social events that are that are happening right now or from the past, and from education, of course. And you have to actually practice a lot for writing analytical writing section. Otherwise, you are not going to develop an impressive writing strategies. You should know how to use transition words and how to move from one idea to another. Actually, there are people who are brilliant enough that they can write longer paragraphs, but when it comes to longer and of course brilliant paragraphs, but when it comes to write in time constraint and in time pressure, then definitely their abilities are not as much impressive. So you have for coping that weakness, you have to work, you have to practice a lot. You just For me, it worked in a way that I used to write one essay per week. Like, I took GRE 3 times, and every time I just after um, after deciding the date of the test, uh, say 3 or 4 months earlier, every week I used to write on Fridays, analytical writing, and that helped me a lot in my typing speed, in building my vocabulary, in using clear transition words. So whatever strategy works for you, please go for that, but practice is must. So only by practice you will know how to move from one idea to another. And if you can, then address one opposing view, of course. So it's a thinking test, it's not an English test. How well you can develop around an idea, this is the test of this, not it's the test of fancy vocabulary and all that. So here I have added um, an exercise for you. So I just copied it from uh, ETS website. So teachers' salaries should be based on their students' academic performance. Actually, it came in real test of GRE. So I would highly encourage you uh, uh, to get your notebook and pencil, and try to think in 1 minute about the activity instructions. Like, for 10 seconds you have to decide whether you agree or disagree with the statement or not, and then for 20 seconds think first reason, and then thinking about the second reason, and then again, here I'm reinforcing that uh, no writing, thinking only. You just have to think whether you agree with the statement or not, reason one and reason two. I'm stopping here for 1 minute for so you would be clearly uh, you would be thinking clearly about your stance here. So I think 1 minute is gone. So if anyone voluntarily want to explain what stance they have taken and uh, what reasons they have thought. So anyone voluntarily would want to jump? Um, I think no one is daring enough. So uh, if I just explain my stance over this, then I would definitely be strongly disagreeing with the statement. Teachers' salaries should be based on their students' academic performance. In my first introductory paragraph, I would state that I don't agree with that. Reason one, I would be thinking about that financial constraint is definitely going to affect teachers' performance if you are going to put financial. That is my reason. And the second reason I could think of, this is you are not doing this in any other sector, in any other private or government sector, that you are constraining their salaries on the basis of their performance. So why teaching? So I could come across with these two reasons for disagreeing with the statement, and how I'm going to explain it in my essay. In first paragraph, I'm going to state my opinion very clearly, whether I agree or disagree. Here, I am telling the reader I don't agree with the statement. In the second body paragraph, in the first body paragraph, I would give the reason that financial constraint is going to impact the performance of teachers, and I would definitely develop around the idea further in the first body paragraph. And then in the second body paragraph, I would explain, if all the other departments are going to be treated same way, then you should treat this department as well. But if no one is going to be treated in that way, then why teachers? Why they have to suffer in that way? So uh, uh, initially 5 minutes thinking, uh, and coming and brainstorming, and then coming with these reasons, I would start writing, and then in next 20 minutes I'm going to write my first body paragraph and second body paragraph. And if even I'm having time, then I'm going to give a counter argument in a way that salaries should not be the criterion to judge teachers' performance, but there should be students' evaluations playing their role in deciding teachers' performance. So that could be my counter argument. And if I'm having more time, then I could write conclusion, which is optional. So analytical writing essay is going to be this way. So let's move forward. So general, so now let's move forward to the other part of the test. So general test taking strategies, what you should be doing before the test, what you should be doing during the test. Most of the time, uh, academic culture of Pakistan doesn't encourage you to respect deadlines most of the time, because I'm a university teacher as well, and I can see very easily how students violate the sanctity of deadlines. For that, uh, we just have to try to change our this mindset of preparing well before time. So it's very important that you register yourself at least 4 to 6 months earlier before actually you are taking the test. Because once you have paid the fee and you know the date, then definitely you are going to have the clear idea, okay, this is the time slot and in which I have to prepare. So time constraint is actually going to give you an extra boost for preparing the test. Otherwise, if you are just thinking about taking the test in very vague manner, in very abstract manner, that I'm going to take this test in next 6 months, but you have not registered for that, then you are not going to perform really well. So you just have to register yourself for the test, so to give you the clear idea, just to give your brain the right direction to move forward. So before the test, get familiar with the question types, and this is a must. Take diagnostic test to know strengths and weaknesses, and practice with timed sections. If you are going to read the recommended books, if you are going to take the test which don't have time constraints, then please count the minutes on your stopwatch. So in taking diagnostic tests, although diagnostic test questions are not as much difficult, they don't meet the difficulty level of the actual test, but still you'll be able to know what areas you need to work more. I must encourage all of you who are going to take diagnostic tests, that don't take these tests as home. Go in USEFP centers. Like I used to go to FC College USEFP center, where I used to take diagnostic tests, which are actually available, um, uh, if you want to practice at home. But still, the uh, the examination center's pressure and real life test conditions, you are going to experience it firsthand. Most of the time students just walk in the center, in the test center at the exam day, and then they might come across examination navigation, like they wouldn't be able to navigate properly. They would be wasting their time in doing this and that. So if you are not entering in test center on the actual exam day with a very relaxed mind, then it's definitely going to impact your scores. So that was my quick tip on the basis of my personal experience, that you should be taking these diagnostic tests at the test center. During the test, you have to stay calm and manage time carefully, although it wouldn't be very true, because it's very difficult to stay calm. At least for me, it's very difficult to stay calm during the test. And you should be uh, you should be reading questions that you are coming across logically, and then logically reasoning them, not memorizing formula and not having complex calculations is not going to help you. So you just have to calculate, to estimate, not to do actual calculations. So logical reasoning here is going to help you a lot. um, uh, the last strategy here is skip difficult questions and return if time permits. Actually, all the questions in all the sections score almost equally. So if you are going to uh, answer the easier questions first, for example, in data interpretation questions, there are some questions that are just not based on calculations, but on the basis of comparing two quantities that are given in the form of charts. So you just by looking at the table, you can easily compare and click the right answer. Within 2-3 seconds you can answer this question. uh, Rather, I must say, wasting your time on a difficult question that is going to give you equal scores, and definitely there is no negative marking. So wasting your time and coming up for a wrong answer uh, is 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 way more costlier than solving a easier question. And you should be able to read all the questions thoroughly in first reading. I must recommend that you should specify 2 to 3 minutes of your section. Uh, just uh, just give a reading to all the questions, and then come back to the easier questions and solve them first. And then in that way, you are going to have this confidence that I have at least picked and answered 5 easier questions, and now I can answer at least 5 of the 10 or the 12 remaining difficult questions. So skipping is very important. It happens that we just get stuck with the difficult questions and solving them, and then that actually takes away all the time of solving the easier questions. So these are strategies for quantitative section. You have to estimate before, as I have mentioned it earlier, estimate before calculating, and you should be able to plug in numbers for variables like algebraic expressions which are having a quadratic equation, solving quadratic equations and all that. If you are not coming across from basic calculus background or from basic arithmetic backgrounds, then you should be able to plug in numbers for variables, and practicing the difficult and easier questions in that way, that is going to be very helpful. And third option is very important. Third strategy is very important. You most of the time you are given 4 or 5 answer choices, and you have to pick 1 or 2. Not not picking the wrong answer, you just have to eliminate rigorously. You just have to read the statements and estimate and eliminate the wrong choices. What I used to do, that the blank paper that was given to me during the test, I just used to write all the options A, B, C, D, and for question 1 I just used to cross that A is not correct, B is not correct, C might be possible, so question mark on that, D might be possible. So now I'm just I just have to pick either C or D, not from A, B, C, D, and E. So elimination is very important. So eliminating wrong choices is going to give you a focus, a proper focus here. I would explain here the test taking strategy in a way that human beings are actually tool using creatures. We are since our social formation, societal formation, we used tools for solving our different real life problems. So questions are also taken as tools. So when you are just thinking questions as a tool and answers and finding the answers, then just use the skill, not just your knowledge and memory, but actually develop the skill in which you use your learning as a tool, and then reaching to the right answer. So elimination is very important. So there are inequalities questions in GRE quant section. So inequalities are sometimes be very confusing. Of course, inequalities are solved in the way equations are solved, but how you could solve sometimes just the negative sign in the question of inequalities is going to cost you. Most of the time in these questions, you come up with the right calculation, and but you just ignored the negative sign. So there you go. The answer is wrong. So you just have to be extra cautious with the particular symbols. So in verbal section, we have to the first strategy is very important. Actually, this is not for quant section, sorry, for verbal section. It is also applicable for quantitative section as well. You just have to read the question and come up with your own answer. No matter how simple the word is, you just have to think the answer first in your brain. because your intuition is going to guide you the best during the test in that time constraint. You just have to come up with your own answer, write it in the simplest word, and then try to match the given answers, and you are going to get the right answer. Actually, this strategy worked for me very well in all the tests that I have taken in that way, that predicting answers before looking at the choices is a very helpful strategy, because if you are going to find the answer from the choices before predicting yourself, then you are not going to get the right answer, because all the answer choices are very vague and abstract, and you are just going to go back and forth from question statement to the answer choices, and that is going to waste your lot of time, lot of very precious time. So first strategy is very important, that you predict your answer before looking at the choice. In sentence equivalence question and text completion questions, you have to use context and logic first, and then you have to come up with the, sometimes in sentence equivalence questions, the uh, the two the two answer choices are not synonyms of each other, but individually when you put them in the blanks, they are making absolute sense. So you just don't go especially in sentence sequence questions, you just don't go into the options and select the synonyms. You just have to put those selected words as per your choice and put them in the blanks, and then read the given sentence. If it's making sense, then your selection is right. So, in reading comprehension, this is very important that you focus on main idea and tone of the paragraph. Tone here means whether the paragraph is written to contradict an existing an existing idea, whether the paragraph is written to appreciate something, uh, whether the reading comprehension paragraph is just describing the is descriptive in nature. So you just have to read the tone, and you have to get the main idea. That is going to help you a lot in at least answering 2 or 3 questions of the reading comprehension type questions. So again, eliminate extremes and extreme or unrelated options. Most of the time ETS gives you gives you the answers which answer choices which are having extreme connotations. So you just right away eliminate them before even reading the entire statement. If the paragraph is I'm explaining here, if the tone of the paragraph is here, if the writer is doubtful about the topic he is explaining, then you should also be doubtful about uh, the certainty of the ideas. So if if the writer is saying that this particular theory of physics is still under consideration for approval, so but in the answer choices, one of the answer choices states that this particular theory is strongly appreciated in that particular type in that particular type of school of thought, then you right away eliminate it. Extreme words are definitely the wrong choices, because nothing in academia is certain. So that is going to help you if a sentence is having the word most, all, very generalized opinion, then this is going to give you a very clear idea to be doubtful about its being right or wrong. So unrelated options and extreme options you should be eliminating and moving further to the next question. Again, key idea here is work smart, not hard. This is very important. You have to manage your time, and you have to find the right answers in time constraint. So how you could manage time? So for quant section, 1.5 minutes per question approximately. For verbal section, you can allocate 1.5 to 2 minutes per questions. Why this is so? Because as in the previous slide, I have shown you that quant section is more difficult uh, as compared to verbal sections, because the ideas, because the basic concepts of maths in quant section are way more um, extensive as compared to verbal. So for that, you have to allocate at least 1.5 minutes per question. But in verbal section, you can take the leverage of putting 2 minutes per question. Accuracy tips are, again, this is repetition. What you know first, answer that question. Uh, Make educated guess rather leaving blanks. You never know the answer you have entered. Maybe you didn't have time and you just put the most difficult question aside. Don't leave it blank, answer it. Try to make an educated guess if you can. And numeric entries questions uh, are one of the nerve-wracking questions of GRE. So in text completion blanks and in numeric entries questions of verbal section, you have to double check, because most of the time the given calculator of a GRE test, it gives you option that you can transfer the answer from calculator screen to the numeric entry blank. You could do that, but most of the time it requires precision of 0.0001, but you actually have calculated it 0.00, and you have not reached to the right entry. So at the time of checking, GRE is going to reject the answer if it is not precise as per asked. So you have to double check the numeric entries. And of course, you have to give some time for review in the end of the each section. And uh, one thing I have to add here, must most of the time, GRE people who actually are test makers are very smart. Actually, GRE is bound to not to give you very complex, not to check your very complex, fancy mathematical calculations, and not to having the background of calculus and not coming from literature and all that. So when ETS is given this limit of not to have complex ideas in the test, so they make questions very difficult. Most of the time question statements are very difficult, but finding their answers is not as complex as test takers believe. So breaking that myth, you have to be able to read through the text, read under the line. That is going to help you really well. So most of the time, there are very difficult questions, and but finding their answers is not as challenging as it seems. So you just have to pick the right key to solve the given problem. uh, so quantitative reasoning measure, it actually assesses your basic mathematical skills. Of course it does. And whether you understand elementary mathematical concepts or not, and your ability to reason quantitatively and to model and solve problems with quantitative methods. uh, there are certain books given, you can purchase, which are official and unofficial. uh, they give you a lot of strategies to solve the questions if you don't have very strong mathematical background. Yet those strategies are not helpful if you don't have even basic understandings of mathematical skills. If you don't have you just the strategies can work effectively only when you have a proper understanding of basic concepts. If you don't have proper understanding, then the difficulty of the test is going to throw away your learned strategies. Like I'm confident enough that I can put so uh, one of the students, if have been practicing strategies thoroughly, then uh, at the time of the test you are not going to apply all the learned strategies if you are not having basic mathematical skills. Long story short, you have to go back to the basics. You have to go back to the elementary mathematics of class 8 and 7, and you have to practice the simplest question strategies and then start preparing for GRE. So here, uh, GRE quant section covers arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and data analysis. Arithmetic itself is the fundamental basis of GRE quant section. In arithmetic, you have to excel in number line. You have to be able to calculate percentages. You have to be able to compare percentages, and you have to calculate the ratios and all that. In algebra, definitely we have it's not very complex algebra, but still you have to know the basics of algebraic expressions, how to here one thing worked for me really well in algebraic section. uh, I used to translate the given statement into an equation. So solving an equation is very easy, rather estimating and reading the statement time and again. For example, if the statement is including the word is, that means equals to. If less than, then you should know the symbol of less than and more than. And that's how algebraic expressions are going to make your life easier if you learn how to translate complex problems into simple equations, because solving equations is very easy. It's not that tricky. In geometry, of course, you are going to come across questions related to quadrilaterals, related to uh, circles and triangles and all that. In data analysis, you are going to give a, a data set, a data interpretation, in the form of box plot or in the form of pie graph or bar graph. And the questions are mixed. Questions could be of different types for data interpretation questions. For arithmetic topics, you should be able to prepare for number properties that include integers, prime numbers, factors and multiples, and remainders. Number properties, they are very easy to learn, but ETS has this tendency to manipulate these basic ideas into very complex ones when it comes to make questions. So next they are going to test your uh, understanding about fractions, decimals, and percents. uh, you should be able to do the conversions, how percent increase or decrease is different from each other. So part to whole logic, ratios and averages would be including ratios and proportions, mean and weighted averages. If you have a very fundamental understanding of statistics, then you should be able to solve the questions of mean and median and standard deviation very easily, because they are very easy to learn and very easy to apply. So effect of adding or removing values, you should be able to do that while solving the questions of ratios and averages. Arithmetic topics further include powers and absolute values, exponents and roots. Absolute values, as I've told you about number line, word problems that should be related to time, speed and distance, work and rates and mixtures. So GRE mainly focuses on logic, estimation, and smart shortcuts, but not on heavy calculations. I have already told you. Actually, GRE calculator uh, is a trap. I'll explain it later. But actually, GRE calculator is a trap for the students, as it does waste your time, and it slows your performance. So, a tip here is to do middle school math and graduate level thinking. So, think mathematically, think quantitatively, only then you'll be able to solve your questions. So, algebra topics will be including operations with exponents, factoring and simplifying algebraic expressions, relations, functions, equations, and inequalities, solving linear and quadratic equations and inequalities. Personally speaking, I'm not coming from fancy mathematical backgrounds, but I learned every basic um, concept of quadratic equations and inequalities, and it made my life very much easy. If you are aiming to study in US universities, then they are kind of obsessed thinking quantitatively. So if you are not thinking like them, then you have no idea what they are talking about. So before going into higher studies, you have to excel yourself in solving, especially in linear and quadratic equations. You should be able to read y equals to mx plus b, like as you know your name. Only then you will be able to think quantitatively and think like them. So solving simultaneous equations, setting up equations to solve word problems, as I have told you previously. Coordinate geometry is very important to learn. The concepts of coordinate geometry are not very difficult to command, but still, ETS has this tendency to make very complex questions of very simple ideas. So until and unless you are not having expertise in simple ideas, you will not be able to solve the complex problems. So you should be able to read through the graphs, equations, and inequalities. You should be able to understand what intercept means and how to calculate slope of line. In this very short time, I cannot explain all these ideas to you. It's totally up to you, and you have to learn them by heart. Only then you'll be able to solve the test questions. Geometry topics are going to include parallel and perpendicular lines, circles, triangles, that include different types of triangles, quadrilaterals, and other polygons. You should be able to calculate the areas of the triangles. You should be able to calculate the perimeters, like the basic calculations. You should be able to do that. So concurrent and similar figures, 3D figures, area, perimeter, volume, as I have told you. Most of the difficult questions come from volume questions, because they include 3D geometry, Pythagorean theorem. Of course, they mix Pythagorean theorem questions with coordinate geometry questions. They are they are difficult to read, but the ideas to solve them is not very difficult. So you have to pay a lot of attention in learning basics of mathematics, rather learning how to solve difficult problems. Angle measurement in degrees is also one of the geometry topics. You are going to be given a diagram, and you have to measure if you don't know how many degrees are in a triangle, then you should not be taking this workshop, I must say. So data analysis questions, um, these are relatively easier questions. If you are already have mastered the questions of the concepts of arithmetics and geometry, then you are definitely going to solve data analysis questions very easily. They include basic descriptive statistics, which includes mean, median, mode range, standard deviation, IQR, interquartile range, and percentiles. Interpretation of data in tables and graphs, such as line graph, bar, circle, box plots, scatter plots, and frequency distribution. Data analysis questions also expect that you know uh, basic concepts of probability and probability distributions. There is a difference between frequency distribution and probability distribution, so you should be able to distinguish both, because most of the time these ideas in your mind are going to overlap during the test. That also include the concepts of normal distributions, conditional probability, counting methods such as combination, permutations, and Venn diagrams. These are very easy to learn and very interesting ideas, and of course the questions related to them are going to come in your way during the test. So conventions and assumptions in quant section, all the numbers used are real numbers. All the figures are assumed to lie in the plane unless otherwise indicated. All the figures such as lines, circles, triangles, and quadrilaterals are not necessarily drawn to scale. If they are not necessarily drawn to scale, they are going to mention that. However, lines shown as straight are actually straight. Points on a line are in the order shown. All the geometric objects are in the relative position shown. Here I have to clear one thing must, that if ETS is not going to give you a question which is in an arbitrary plane, or which is having which is not drawn to scale, it is definitely going to mention it along the question. So you have to before just comparing two triangles or two circles uh, which are shown of similar size, but if they are mentioning that they are not drawn to scale, then you just don't have to compare their relative sizes as are shown on screen. So you have to be extra cautious when GRE question mentions that diagrams are not drawn to scale. um, uh, as I have told you that using calculator is actually a liability rather a facility. It's a trap, so you have to be careful. If you can do calculations uh, in your mind, which is definitely faster than any calculator in the world, and the calculator given in GRE test is very fundamental. It does very basic calculations. So it's very encouraging if you don't use any type of calculator, rather simple or scientific, when you are preparing for GRE, so that you'll be able to calculate in your mind rather relying on calculator. So on-screen calculator is available. You use calculator. I recommend that when numbers are messy, mental math, as I've told you, as everyone knows, that it is very fast. So if you are over relying and overusing calculator, then of course you are wasting your precious time. So if you can estimate, don't calculate it. GRE questions, you will be having very strong temptations to do the calculations and reaching to the right answer, even though you know the all the skills of the basics of mathematics. Yet this is strongly encouraging that don't use calculators, rely on your own knowledge. Question types. Question types are quantitative comparison questions. This is the first type of questions. Then we have MCQs, in which you have to say. Second type of questions are multiple choice questions, in which you have to select one or more answer choices. Then we have numeric entry questions. I have explained a little earlier during the workshop. Uh, there are four types of questions you are going to expect on your test day. So quant comparison questions, they include four options. As in the question type breakdown, I have explained it very clearly that number of quant questions are more than any other type of questions in the actual test. So you have to learn how to solve them thoroughly. You should expect in quantcom type of questions four options, in which option A, quantity A is greater, B, quantity B is greater, C, both are equal, and D cannot be determined. So key tip here is don't calculate everything. Look for the relationships, patterns, and shortcuts. These are very tricky questions. If you have command on basic concepts of mathematics, then you should be able to solve these questions just by estimating and not and just controlling your temptation to do calculations. So strategies to solve these questions are compare logically, not numerically. Especially look for fractions, ratios, or powers, which are easy to estimate. Simplify the expressions by factoring or canceling or rewriting the expressions. Substitution is an other strategy. If you could substitute the values, for example, if the number 100, substituting number 100 while solving the questions of percentage is going to make your life very easy. So substitution here could reward you if you have already have practiced it and if you know how to use it. So check edge cases. If answer varies, it is usually D, which cannot be determined. Avoid answer traps. Don't assume integers unless stated. Uh, uh, MCQs in which you have to select one answer question, which is a classic GRE format type of questions. You are given a problem and five answer choices, A, B, C, D, and E, and only one answer choice is correct. And by applying any strategy or mathematical equation or any other that is applicable there, you just can easily come to the right answer. So key tip here is concept and logic. Calculations may be needed, but often shortcuts exist. Of course, there are shortcuts if you are able to read through the text. So strategies for solving is, of course, elimination comes first. Of course, you have to understand the question and then you have to eliminate the wrong choices, plug in numbers. This is kind of repetition of all the information that I already have shared with you. So you have to check units and conditions and guess strategically. For example, this is I just included one very simple example here. 3x plus 5 is equal to 143. What is the value of x? How you would calculate the value of x? Let's try to solve it. I'm going to give you I shouldn't be giving you more than 15 seconds for solving this question, as it is very easy. So still, I'm giving you at least 30 seconds to solve this question. Let's see how it goes. So let's solve it together. 3x plus 5 equals to 143 means if you just minus uh, 5 from 143, then you are going to get 138. So 3x is equal to 138 and x is equal to 138 divided by 3. What would be the answer of it? So by just doing little manipulation in this equation, you could easily come to the solution of this simple equation. So what is the value of x? Most of the time, this is the ideal case scenario. If GRE test includes such type of easy question, then life is very easy. But actually, they are not going to include such questions. But still, sometimes statement questions are stated in that way that they can be written down in the form of such equations, and then you should be able to solve the value of x. Of course, you should be learning how to state algebraic, how to state complex statements into algebraic expressions. Only then you can be able to solve this very simple equation. I strongly encourage to enter the right answer in chat box. But I select more than one answer questions. In this question type, uh, you should be selecting more than one answer choices. In such problems, you are given several answer choices, and you have to select more than one options. If you are selecting one option correct and the other option wrong, then you are going to score 0. So you have to select all the correct options. So if you have selected correct options, let's say there are questions that include 3 right options, but you have selected 2 correct options, then again you are going to score 0, because you have to select all the correct answers. So no partial credit is given for selecting 2 right answers and 1 wrong answer if 3 answers are to be selected. So you have to select all the correct answers. So more than one options may be correct. You may select all the correct answers to get full credit. So key tip here is treat each option as a true and false, not as a multiple choice. This key tip actually helped me a lot while solving multiple answer questions in which I had to select more than one option. Then I used to treat every answer choice uh, as a as an independent statement, and checking it whether it's true or false. It's definitely a very helpful tip in solving these types of questions. So, sorry. It's a difficult question, and we are of course running out of time. So I strongly encourage you to take the screenshot of it. Here n symbol on letter n is n square, which is a multiple of both. So let S be the set of all the positive integers n, such that n square is a multiple of both 24 and 108, which of the following integers are divisors of every integer n in S. Um, you could take your time solving this question. It's if you know the fundamentals of positive integers, then you should know that 24 and 108 both are even numbers, and what are the n square is a multiple of both 24 and 108, which of the following integers are divisors of every integer n in S. I strongly encourage you to take the screenshot and come up with the answer. On exam day, you should be able to solve this question in less than 1.5 minutes, because it's not very tricky if you know the fundamentals. Numeric entry questions, these are very hard nuts to crack, in GRE test day. So you should be expecting a math problem in which you have to answer enter the answer yourself. No answer choices are given. Answer can be integer, in the form of fractions, in the form of decimals. Most of the time they are fraction and decimal. Integer questions are, I have taken multiple GRE actual test and diagnostic test, but it's very rare that I came across the numeric entry questions which included integer. Most of the time they are fractions, and sometimes they are decimal. So no guessing from options. Exact value is required. As I've told you, that precise value 0.001% if is required, then you have to enter the exact value. Otherwise, this is going to ruin your score. So key tip here is precision matters more than speed. You should be expecting investing more time in data entry questions rather in any other type of questions, because here you are extra cautious while calculating, because you are not guessing from the given choices. You have to rely on your own abilities. So smart strategies for data entry questions are: understand what is being asked, which is final value, which could be a unit, which could be a simplified form. Double check calculations. Small errors cost you full marks. Um, Use estimation to verify. Enter fractions carefully. If it is asking a fraction of 3 is to 4, but you are entering a fraction 3 is to 5, then question is wrongly answered. So rounding instructions, if you have not rounded off the number which is required in the question, then definitely this is going to cost you. If the instructions, most of the time students do the calculation in the calculator given and they transfer it, but they ignore the direction that that GRE test is asking us to round off the value, but they ignore it. They might be ignoring it, not deliberately. So you have to look for for all the instructions given for the question. This is an example of numeric. This is a real test example of numeric entry question. How you can solve it? Just read the question first. Let's read it together. The table shows the frequency distribution of the value of variable y, which is given in column y. What is the mean of the distribution? How you could calculate the mean? Give your answer to the nearest 0.01. You should be multiplying every value of column y with the every value of column frequency. That is going to make 2 multiplied by 1 over 2, 7 multiplied by 3 by 4, 8 multiplied by 5 over 4. So that's how you are going to multiply the frequency of every respective column with every category y variable. That is and after doing all these calculations, you have to just make all the denominators equal, and then you have to add all the values, and then you have to calculate the average. uh, uh, as this is the virtual session, and I'm hoping that you are getting my instructions carefully. As I believe that I cannot be able to do annotation because I don't have stylus with me right now. So as I'm explaining it to you, to answer this question is to multiply the all the respective values of one column with the other, and then adding and then dividing it by the total number of the frequency. That is how you are going to get the nearest value. Those who are getting the instructions carefully, they are definitely going to solve this question easily. So on test day, you are going to expect such question. I just copied this question from recommended material of ETS. So this question came in actual test of GRE. So next type of questions are data interpretation questions. which are based on tables, charts, and graphs. You should expect 2 to 5 questions per data set. And common data types are tables, bar graphs, line graphs, pie charts. You should be having a proper mastery on these types of uh, data interpretation techniques. You should be able to learn of all the types of tables, all the types of graphs and pie charts, how to calculate 360 degrees of a circle with the respective sectors that are given in the data interpretation question. You should be able to quickly convert the respective degrees of the pie chart into the actual values. Only then you will be able to solve these questions in very time constrained environment. So key reality here is data interpretation tests are reading accurately, not hard math. As I have told you that for me, these are very what I must say, relieving questions. That okay, data interpretation questions, I just get confident about solving them. So smart strategies are read the questions first. This is a very useful tip, that you read the questions first, and then reading the table or interpreting the table is going to get easy, because most of the time there are a lot of information, unnecessary informations are given in data tables or in diagrams. But if you have read the questions first, then it's going to be very easy for you where to look at. So don't scan the entire chart blindly. If you have read the questions, then later you have to read the table. So you should be able to check labels and units carefully. Sometimes they have asked exclusively in the question the percent difference, but you have calculated the number difference. And just as a trap answer, they have given the percent difference as well and the number difference. So you are going to, if you are going to take the trap answer that I have calculated the number, so this is in the choices, and you are going to miss the actual question, which is asking about percent. So you have to be extra cautious about understanding the statement. So thousands versus millions, you have to you just have to be able to read through the table. Values are given in thousands or millions or billions. So estimate before calculating. This is reiterating itself. Handle one question at a time. Avoid trap answers, which is, as I've told you, GRE often uses closer values. So this is again another real life example of data interpretation question that I copied from recommended material. So question 1 to 3 are based on the following data. Let's read the questions first. Question number 1 is asking you to compare 2006 and 2008 of dollar value of store P. Question 2 is numeric entry question, that is of the comparison of 2007 and 2008. Third question is which of the following statements, this is multiple choice question in which you have to select more than one answer correctly. So data interpretation question is not a different type of questions, but actually this is a mix of the types of the questions and types of the concepts they are asking from you. So if you are able to read this table now, so stores PQRST and their percentage change from 2006 to 7 in 1 year is given 10%, minus 25, minus 7, 17, and then 2007 to 8, minus 10, 9, 12, minus 15, and minus 8. So annual percent change in dollar amount of sales at 5 retail stores from 2006 to 2008 is given in this table. Let's see what is written in first question. If the dollar amount of sales at store P was $800,000 for 2006, what was the dollar amount sales at the store for 2008? I should be going back to this chart. So what is this store? P. For 2006, it was 10%. So you are starting it from 2010 and now it is minus 10. So 10% of 800,000 is what you have to calculate it, and then minus it from 800,000, and then you are going to get the answer. If you understood the description of how to solve it, then you should be coming to the answer, right answer choice of the given question, which is 792, because 10% of 800,000 you have calculated it, and then minus it from 800,000, and then you will be coming to $792,000. Again, at store T, the dollar amount of sales in 2007 was what percent of the dollar amount of 2008? So at store T, you have to calculate the given the percentage difference, 17 minus 8, 17 minus 8, because here you have to be extra cautious. Already percentage is decreasing, so minus and minus are going to be positive in when you are translating it algebraically. So you have to be coming with the, so give your answer to the nearest. Again, as I've told you that most of the time on calculators, you are going to calculate it in number form, but the percentage question, you have to be extra cautious with the percentage questions. And with that, you have to enter, you have to come up with the number difference, and then you have to calculate it in percentage wise. And this is data entry question, and you have to enter exact amount to the nearest 0.1%. So based on the information given, which of the following statements must be true? Indicate all such statements. 2008, the dollar amount, as I strongly encourage you to take the screenshots of these questions, because we are running out of time and I have to explain verbal section as well. These are very easy questions to solve if you know the fundamental concepts of mathematics. You should be able to solve these questions immediately. I just leave it on you and moving forward to the next type. So, next section is GRE verbal. In the previous section, in quant section, my main purpose was to make you people familiar with the question types and the question statement, what type of question statements you can come across. If you can interpret what is required, then you can easily find the right answer. So our next section is GRE verbal, which is most of the time tricky for and difficult for those people who are coming from mathematics background, from statistics, and from but I must say that GRE verbal is not as much difficult as GRE quant for me, because GRE verbal is you don't have to learn so many things. Of course, you have to learn vocabulary. Of course, you have to build your vocabulary. But in GRE verbal, you cannot be stuck in different types of in applying different types of concepts. In GRE verbal, you just have to learn few answering strategies and building your vocabulary and getting familiar with the question types, and of course you can score really well in GRE verbal. So agenda for explaining GRE verbal is understanding what GRE verbal really tests: sentence equivalence, logic over vocabulary, text completion, reading comprehension, in which you should be able to learn how to manage time, and what are the common mistakes and how to avoid them. For GRE verbal, you should be focusing on thinking clearly under time pressure rather than memorizing words. Of course, you have to build a very strong vocabulary, yet vocabulary is not enough. You should be able to break the complex ideas into simpler ones, especially when it comes to GRE verbal section. So what actually they are testing, they are not testing advanced English. They test how you think using language, how you are thinking complex ideas and stating and trying to understand and trying to comprehend the complex ideas. ETS evaluates your ability to understand logical relationships in sentences, identify tone, purpose, and assumptions. These are mostly of reading in reading comprehension questions, in which you have to identify tone and purpose and assumptions. Use context clues such, instead of memorization. Distinguish main ideas from supporting details. Most of the time in for example, if a reading comprehension paragraph is including three sub paragraphs, in which first paragraph is stating the main idea, but the other supporting details, one is contradicting and one is supporting, then you should be able to distinguish the main idea from supporting details. Most of the time main ideas is given in first paragraph of the reading comprehension questions, but sometimes they're given in the last paragraph as well. So by just reading the paragraph, you should be able to distinguish what are the supporting details, what is the main idea, because in reading comprehension, the examiner is going to trap you in these types of questions. Like they are asking for main idea, but giving in the answer choices you the supporting details. So you should be able to distinguish what examiner actually is asking you. So reason accurately under time pressure. What GRE verbal does not test your native level fluency, whether you are born in Denmark or Sweden or born in India or Bangladesh. GRE test is equally difficult for both, as it is not checking your, not testing your native level fluency. Not literary analysis, not memorized vocabulary list. Most of the time, learning at least 500 to 300 to 500 GRE words, which are given in the recommended material books and in official GRE list. You could memorize those words, but don't rely them totally on just try to learn other strategies of solving different types of questions, because just building vocabulary is not going to help you score decently. So key message here is strong reasoning plus basic English is going to get you a higher score in verbal section. So question types here are sentence sequence. Most of the question types I have explained you in one of the in one of the first slides of the workshop. So sentence sequence question is complete one sentence. You have to choose two answers with the same meaning. For text completion, one or three blanks you should be expecting. Use context and logic clues. The reading comprehension, you should be expecting short and long passages. Short, just one passage of, let's say, 200 words, and long passages of, let's say, three sub passages with at least 700 or 800 words. So questions on main idea, inference, and purpose and tone you should be expecting in reading comprehension part. Sentence sequence questions are you have to choose two correct answers. Both choices must create sentence with the same meaning. The important rules are always two answers, no partial credit. If you have picked one right answer but the other picked answer is wrong, you are not given any credit. So there is no partial credit. Focus on sentence meaning, not individual words. So key idea here is it tests your logic, not vocabulary. This is very important strategy, that you should read the sentence first and ignore the blanks and come up with your own words. As I have explained it earlier, that coming up with your own very simple word before looking into options is going to is going to answer your question very accurately. This tip worked for me really well every time, that I used to come with my own answer choice, and uh, most of the time when looking in the options, if I know the meaning of all the answer choices, then definitely this strategy works really well. That you read the sentence ignoring the blank and then intuitively guessing the answer word, and then looking at the answer choices is going to give you really good scores in these questions. So predict the meaning, look for the logic clues. uh, Transition words like although, however are contrasting because therefore are causative clauses. So look for those. If there is although and however, you should be looking for the contrasting words. If because and therefore words are there, such types of words are there, then you should be thinking that the statement is actually supporting the idea which is given in the sentence. So pair synonym, two words that mean the same thing in the context. So vocabulary helps, but logic decides. Example here, this is again a real life example from actual GRE test, which is despite her reputation for being strict, the professor was surprisingly dash with late assignments. Now, keyword or the hint word here is despite. In this sentence, the first word despite is going to give you this hint that teacher is strict, but surprisingly with late assignments, dash with late assignments. But surprisingly, most of the students might have guessed it already right, that she was not rigid, because despite, what is opposite to strict is actually um, what is opposite to strict, you have to look through the answer choices and then picking it, and which is lenient and forgiving, because rigid and harsh and inflexible are negative words, but here you have to select opposite of strict, and which are lenient and forgiving. Here I have explained. I think I don't need to go into detail because I have already explained why the word despite here actually helped you. So text completion question, you should be expecting one or two or three blanks. You have to choose one option or as stated that make the sentence logical and coherent. Key features here are blanks depend on each other. Vocabulary matters, but again, logic matters more. So, key idea here is text completion tests your ability to understand context, not memorized words. Smart strategy, read the full sentence, identify logic clues, predict the meaning, fill blank by blank. You have to you have to come with all the answers all together, not just picking one answer correct and the other one as the wrong answer choice is not going to help you. So always solve logic first and vocabulary second. This is an example of another example of a text completion question. Initially, I showed you the example of sentence sequence. Here we have example one of text completion. So let's read it together. Although plant and animal species that become established in ecosystems where they did not originate are sometimes referred to by the alarming term invasive species, many such species are dash in their environment. Now, keyword here is although. Although plants and animal species that become stabilized in ecosystems. Key idea here is that in other ecosystems in which invasive species are actually condemned and criticized, but many species are dash in their environment. Many species are, let's start from E, distinctive, menacing, robust, conspicuous, innocuous. If you know the meaning of all the words, then you should be definitely coming on the right answer choice, which is innocuous, because innocuous means that that species in their indigenous environment are not seen as harmful as they are seen in other environment. Conspicuous is not the right answer. Robust is absolutely irrelevant. Menacing is absolutely irrelevant. Distinctive and conspicuous are related to each other. They are kind of synonymous to each other. So just having synonymous meaning, you can eliminate these two choices. So answer A is the right answer. Um Again, here we have select two, text completion question. I think I don't need to go into explaining this question. I just gave you the idea that there are text completion questions and select two, like multiple choice questions in which you have to select one answer, and multiple choice question in which you have to select two answer choices. So we have solved both types of questions. So I think I would move further, but you can take screenshot of this and you can solve it on your own. Again, this is a real life question. So text completion question in which you have to fill two blanks. Both should be supporting each other. So let's read it together. Certain music lovers yearn for dash, but when it is achieved, there is something missing. Perhaps they feel uncomfortable in a world where nothing discernible is dash. So certain music lovers yearn for dash. Now, hint word here is the transition word but when it is achieved, like certain music lovers are desiring for something, but when they get it, they find something missing in it. So certain perhaps they feel uncomfortable in a world where nothing discernible is. So you can just by weighing two of the blanks, you can easily come to the right answers, which are like certain music lovers which are looking for uh, here the keyword are but and something missing. So here the word missing actually is telling you that music lovers are looking for something in ideal condition. So they are looking for flawlessness, but uh, but in a world where nothing discernible is, the answer choices of for blank two are the correct answer is wrong. So answer A from second column and answer C from first column are the right answer choices. You have to look for the hint words in this sentence. These are but and missing. But I wouldn't be having enough time to solve this very difficult question. Um, uh, it's not as difficult as it is looking. I already have tried it and I already have solved it. But as we are running short of time, so I would encourage you to take the screenshot and solve it on your own. It's not very difficult, although the question seems to be lengthy and having fancy vocabulary. So don't be scared of that. Just read it with a very calm mind, and you'll be able to answer it correctly. Reading comprehension. This is the last type of questions included in verbal section here. So here you have the task of uh, one tip I must share with you people here is you should be reading the passage sentence by sentence and try to write it in your own words. Sentence S write. I used to write S1 and then write the idea. S2 write the idea of the sentence. In that way, within 3 or 4 minutes, I used to understand the entire paragraph, no matter how complex it was. Maybe of 800 or 700 words. So it worked for me really well that I used to read the passage thoroughly and then I used to read the questions and answering them thoroughly. Uh, you have to be learning the question types, like they are asking for main ideas for primary purpose. They are giving you specific details, whether you have to infer or trying to interpret the implied meaning. You have to be able to check whether the author's tone, attitude, and method is in what way. So, key idea here is reading comprehension is about understanding the argument, not memorizing the content. Smart strategies are you have to preview the question, identify the structure of the passage, focus on relationships, answer-based passage, not prior knowledge. You don't have to be master of the ideas that are given. Most of the time, students coming from arts background have to solve the reading comprehension paragraphs that are related to mammals and sharks and uh, their complex biological systems, that you will never be able to do that. So no prior knowledge is required. Whatever is given in the paragraph right over there uh, is absolutely adequate. So eliminate extreme or irrelevant options. I have explained it earlier. So always think like an author, not like yourself. This is an example. This is a very scary paragraph, I know that. And it is followed by 4 questions. I would share my slides with the organizers, and you should be able to solve this paragraph and the answer choices and the question types on your own. Without going into the details of this paragraph, I just have to show you the question types. Like this first question type is primary purpose. The primary purpose, while describing the primary purpose, you don't have to go into the details. So here, answer choices are having many of the trap answers that are trying to inculcate the secondary details of the paragraph, but not the main idea. So you have to be extra cautious while reading the answer choices, and you have to eliminate the trap answers. So second type of question is, according to the author of the passage, which of the following generalizations about the memory, if you, when you are going to read the passage, you'll be able to answer this question, but the tone of this question is that you have to find the supporting argument for one of these stated assumptions in the paragraph. So you should be expecting such type of questions in which specific lines are referred, and in which you have to be able to explain the contextual meaning of that line. This actually here I'm explaining the functions of the questions, in which you have to, when you are able to identify the type of the question, then it's very easy for you to answer the reading comprehension question. So question number 4 is the importance of the study mentioned. Again, this is a specific question. Again, this is a function question, which is based on the contextual understanding of the lines from 12 to 14. Again, you have to understand the function of the question, and then you should be able to answer the question. So this is the last slide, which is very important. Most of the time, students are stuck to read from the materials which are not having questions of the difficulty level which are expected for you to come in the exam day. Most of the time those questions are very easy, but in the actual test, when you come across with the difficult type of questions, you are not able to solve them. So official material is the best one, that includes the the questions of the similar difficulty level. ETS official guide to the GRE, Power Prep, official GRE quant reasoning, official GRE math review and conventions, and of course Khan Academy. If you have zero background knowledge of the complex ideas of mathematics and average, then Khan Academy is the best source to learn from scratch. So that's all from my side. I thank you all for attending the workshop. If there is any question, then please, house is open for questions. Uh, Mohammed Zain has asked if I can share vocab strategy. How did you? I memorized. I just made a notebook and I wrote the the difficult words, and then I used to, like, on one page I used to write two main words in highlighted form, and then write every synonym and antonym uh, around that word, and at least one sentence, one or two sentences in which the word is used. That is how I build the vocabulary. It's kind of flashcards strategy, like making flashcards strategy. But for me, because I always used to lose flashcards, so for me, notebook worked really well. I used to write the highlighted word and all the synonyms and antonyms, and one sentence, one or two sentences. And when I used to have time, I just revised all the words, and that is how I built my vocabulary. So this is the tip I could share. You definitely can come across with your own ideas. No, Ambreen, if there is no instruction, then you shouldn't be rounding it off. Then you please just transfer it from calculator to the numeric entry question, and your answer is done. Move forward. If no rounding off instruction, then forget about it. But if I just mentioned it exclusively, most of the time students ignore that we are done. Um, just by calculating the number, but rounding it off is the requirement of the question. Most of the students in hurry or in panic situation, they ignore rounding it off. So a point of mentioning it exclusively was that you should read the instructions carefully. You just don't lose your score by ignoring the instruction that you could easily be looking at. So, thank you. Zainab answered the right. Okay, thank you. Is there any other question? For me, the part is done. I hope I have done the I have done some job, and I've tried my best to help. This was my first session, and I was very scared to explain the ideas, and I was jumping from one thing to another just to explain you everything. But still, I hope I have made some positive contribution in your understanding about GRE and all that. So I think let's wind it up. And if you have any question, then please reach out to me and reach out to the USEFP organizers. No, you cannot do that, Bakhtavar. This is USEFP requirement for Fulbright, that at the time of the applying for the test, you have taken your GRE. It's TOEFL that you can take later, but GRE is the must at the time of applying for Fulbright. If Sarish, if you are starting from scratch, then 2 months are not enough. Then at least you have to at least 4 to 6 months. But if you are if you have taken the diagnostic test and you have scored in 160s or 150s, then 2 months, even 1 month is enough. So it totally depends what you are scoring in your diagnostic test and in your if you are confident about your mathematical skills, then 2 months or 1 month even is sufficient. But if you are starting from scratch, then I must suggest that invest 4 to 6 months. They are available on websites. They are available on ETS website. You just have to make your ETS account from your Gmail account, and then you can take the diagnostic test at your home. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the workshop, that I strongly recommend that take your test in the test center, because they have this facility. Maybe on Wednesdays or maybe any other day, you can contact your nearby USEFP center and set the date, and and you should take the diagnostic test at the test center. Rather, this is a very they offer you this facility on a very minimal fee. Back in 2019 and 20, I used to take diagnostic test in FC College in Lahore just for 500 rupees. This is like nothing against the facilities they are providing. So you can take diagnostic test at home and at center as well, wherever is convenient for you. So I think this is 4 p.m. Rest of the questions could be answered personally if someone has any. So bye bye. I hope you all the best, and I wish you very good luck. Thank you so much.